This is the SsangYong Rexton. Now, it might be a relatively rare sight on UK roads, but it's loved by its owners, in particular by caravan owners who like this car's rugged dependability and the fact it can tow up to a maximum of 3,500 kilograms, meaning it can tow practically any caravan on the UK market. Let's take a look around. The SsangYong Rexton's rivals, like the Peugeot 5008 and Kia Sorento, might have flashier looking interiors, but there's nothing wrong with the inside of the SsangYong Rexton. Firstly, it's really well put together. Lots of soft touch plastics and everything feels really solid. You have a fantastic view out thanks to the very high seating position, and there is loads of equipment. Now, as standard, you get an 8-way adjustable electric driver's seat. You get heated and ventilated front seats, heated seats in the back. You get a touchscreen system, digital dials, and this top spec car gets a very fancy 360-degree parking camera, which you can turn the car around on the screen just like you can in a Land Rover. This car also gets Napa leather seats, which just really improves the luxury levels. In the back of the SsangYong Rexton, and it feels really quite luxurious actually. There is plenty of space. That seat is in my driving position. I'm just over 5'10", and I've got loads of knee-room. Headroom is very good. These back seats are very comfortable as well, and you can fit 3 people back here thanks to this flat floor. Now, the Rexton is also a full 7-seater. It's just a shame though that this rear bench seat doesn't slide and move backwards and forwards. Getting into the back is slightly difficult, but once back there, children will have loads of space. It just gives this car an extra level of practicality, which you might not expect. With the rear seats in place, there's room for a decent amount of shopping, but caravan owners, if they're not carrying 7, might do better to lower them. Do this, and the boot is cavernous. SsangYong offers the choice of a fixed tow bar for £398 or a removable one for £578. Most rivals to the Rexton are available in a myriad of different engine and transmission options, but SsangYong has kept things nice and simple with the Rexton because there's just one engine option, one gearbox option, and one 4-wheel drive option. It's a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder diesel engine with 197 brake horsepower, an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and switchable 4-wheel drive. Now, the on-paper stats for the diesel engine don't look all that good. 10.7 seconds for 62 miles an hour is claimed. However, in the real world, this car feels a lot quicker to accelerate than 10.7 seconds. And that's because it's quite a torquey engine. It's a pretty small engine for such a large car, but it's nice and torquey. It gets up to speed pretty quickly. And this 8-speed automatic gearbox is really smooth, just flittering between all the gear ratios. Now, I find this engine is at its best when you're just pottering around, because when you do ask all it can give, it does get a little bit coarse. I wouldn't describe it as gruff, I'd describe it as a bit harsh. I mean, let's just put my foot on the throttle and yeah, it's not the most refined engine around, but it does do the job. And I've been getting around 31 miles per gallon just by driving solo. And when I hooked up to a Caravan, I was seeing around 21 mpg, which isn't too bad. If you're expecting this car to drive like a typical family SUV, you're going to be very disappointed. And I think the reason for that is this isn't an SUV. An SUV, let's face it, well, the S stands for sports. And most SUVs, they feel like big family cars that are just jacked up a little bit. This isn't like that at all. In many ways, it reminds me of the old Mitsubishi Shogun. It's a proper, rugged, back to basics, no nonsense 4x4. If you keep that in mind, this drives absolutely fine. Now the ride is pretty firm in this car. You hit a pothole and the whole car judders, the body sways, it sort of vibrates through the steering and through the pedals, much like you would find in a proper 4x4. This is the Ultimate Plus spec, the range topping specification, and you get 20-inch wheels. The ride is even firmer. I mean, it's pretty stiff on cars with 18-inch wheels, but it's pretty bad in this car. But again, this car isn't supposed to be sporty, it's supposed to be rugged and dependable. Now attack a corner in the Rexton and it sort of wallows and leans its way through the bends. But again, it's not supposed to be a brilliant car to drive. It just gets on with the job. Just adapt your driving style to a more of a relaxed one, and this car is absolutely fine. So, verdict time. What is this SsangYong Rexton like as a tow car? Well, as a tow car, it's very impressive. That maximum towing capability means that you can pretty much tow any size of Caravan that you like. And once you are hitched up, this car does impress. It isn't the fastest car in the world, but it is more than good enough at acceleration, and the ride does kind of level out when you're actually towing. Not only that, but this is a proper 4x4. A lot of SUVs might have a high ride height, but this has got a proper low range gearbox, it's got switchable 4-wheel drive, and put some decent off-road tyres on this car, and the Rexton will make light work of even the worst campsite. If you like your SUVs to be cosseting, comfortable and luxurious, the Rexton isn't for you. But if you like your SUVs to be proper 4x4 workhorses that are utterly dependable, and you don't want to pay too much for the privilege, you can't do much better than the SsangYong Rexton.